these subliminal messages that are, sound waves that could easily hypnotize you, you know, to order you to do stuff. Just like how they say, tune in Tokyo, and they do all those broadcasts or, send those frequencies, the signal with messages out throughout the universe and space. Like how like we think they do in this module. Maybe they did before it was so simulated. Like Hunger Games, how real people are in the games, and all of a sudden they got simulations come to life where they're about to chew the shit out of you and attack you. Same thing with Jumanji. I mean, the fact that we have this real shit, and that's what happened to ancient societies as far as either going up and passing or going down. But you have to remember, what goes up comes down. So if you're stupid enough to sell out, be wealthy and rich, try to act like you're a good person with the cover up and hiding the truth, you're not going to ascend where you're actually freed. You're actually ascending where somebody now owns you and gave you your immortality. So if you defy them, those that gave you the immortality own you, just like the devil has a contract. And once you slip up, they can have you fucking lose your immortality. Am I talking about physically here? Not so much yet, but it is the 21st century in the beginning. So stay tuned as far as observant with your life in your own eyes, because you're going to keep seeing crazy shit over 5 years or 1 year or even next month. But 2057, as far as 33 years from now, is a big worry to me as far as being a bit of a oracle, a psychic, just like all these other people that have been able to predict all the stuff, So with me getting scared and being woken up with so much information going through my head last year and this year, even though it's 2057 literally from the gap of 33 years of Jesus and the AD added, it's also going to be a rough 33 years as far as it being the beginning of 21st century. So with everyone UK, atomic missiles, the quantum mechanics and level 9 actually no longer being the highest, because now we're already on the second phase, or the other, the other side of the mirror or the pillar, where we're actually making atomic atom fucking bombs of 10 and 11 now. I mean, we're getting into depths where the energy that we could actually muster to use with our minds and our hands, and just like wizards with their wand, and actually make shit happen that you thought was fake, it's actually going to be way bigger bangs as far as them splitting these atoms that are from our brain, our blood, and even the atmosphere around us. So be aware that if you line up a bunch of grenades on the sand, a good distance from each other, and you consider those to be planets in orbit, boom, 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 boom. The way that things flow, the energy, the shock, the absorbing, the detonators. I don't want to see clusters of stars explode and a fucking video game shut down permanently, or, Genesis restart again. I want to get out of this shit, and I want what Jesus wanted, for me to be king and vessel instead of having to pass away and, become more of a supreme being. Do I need too much power? No. I just want like 4 acres, one nice freaking 3-story home with a safe, beautiful, retreaty rooftop, and, a great marijuana crop field as far as getting good at botany and listening to plants and them dancing and shaking and laughing. I mean, if you ever have seen any of the supernatural, which was natural, it is a beautiful thing to see trees out of nowhere go ha ha ha, and their whole body, their branches, their leaves shake the same way your body does when you're like a little bit of an obese, chubby uncle or something. You know, his stomach and his chest and the whole body jiggles when they're happy laughing, you know? That's the same way I've seen these big bush trees. And I made them grow at times this year, but the Matrix is really trying to fuck with me. Another good example for this prophecy is like Penelope. You know, it's her video game. She's the main character, and Wreck-It Ralph goes and saves her. So that's another, you know, example of like Neo and Morpheus, or Jesus and me. You know, the king and his, you know, passed away at 33, 2,000 years, and instead of him, you know, not dying in the beginning or whatever, you know, added on like the 4 years. So instead of every 4 years, which is 5, and then 5 rounding up to 10, so 10 being 2 parts, and every 10,000 years, you know, you already went through one module structure, you know, it's gone, another one, and then another one restarts. So, you know, quantum physics and 1 is actually 0 because that's the first number, and 9 is actually 10. You have to understand these things on how they actually taught us all these curriculums, you know, scientifically, whether it's literature or actually calculus with numbers, you know, whether it's actually numbers that the Hindu, Muslim, and all them introduced to us with their symbols, you know, after the hieroglyphics and, like, you know, the first few thousand years of AD to the years before with Roman numerals, the way they made a clock. How come a clock doesn't ever have 8 and 16 and 32 hours? You know, why are things cut short? Why did we have 13 months and then they stopped it? Because, you know, 1 month, the 6th month, or 7th month, or in between 6th and 7th month, was the month for the Baphomet or whatever, that goat deity. And in 1932, they took it off and made it 12 months. But in other places like China and Sweden, they still have certain type of barcodes and labels as far as their energy resource outlets and you know, things that are very important like that, where it says on the label 14 months instead of 12. So we used to have 12 planets, we used to have 14 planets, you used to have 21 planets, then 7 planets disappeared. You know, you had 21 archangels. The human life is not the same as a planet's life in years, or an archangel's years, or God's years. You know what I'm saying? God made the universe in 7 days. Well, when he made Earth, that was actually, you know, weeks or something, as far as it being on a lower level of life that doesn't live as long. You know what I'm saying? So you have to get past all these unsure moralities, or, you know, research evaluations that you gave up on. You know, pick up the book, pick up the pencil, start learning and thinking. You know, time to graduate and ascend should already happen with class starting now, rather than you going through 150 freaking Genesis. You know, I died 12 times. I had the same life. I didn't get to become free guy and you know, figure things out to get everything right the first time. So I got killed. Then I come back and I have no memory as far as that time, and still it recollected to be, you know, history repeats itself, but a different disaster as far as not making it. You know, so with things that happened this year, fights, tickets, arrests, And then instead of going to court or getting warrants for most of them, except at the end, when a lot of this crazy Cosmo magic was already coming to an end, and game creators or simulators, they're already done as far as being able to get hands-on, be noticeable, accountable for the magic. Everything that was written in prophecy, as far as them being engineers, keeping on track for the way that they want prophecy to go and the game to roll out. At the end of that, that's when one warrant stuck out instead of disappearing. But everything else, as far as getting in trouble, tickets, arrest, and all of that shit, I trip out on how things that were just as serious and I didn't even take care of business, it's like they never happened. This whole program, I got in a fight with my dad. I got a ticket of being arrested and I need to show up to court. I didn't show up. That was crazy because he was unsure what to do. And he didn't end up following through with imprisoning me. Just trying to be a father that, I told you, son, now, because he's let me out on the streets and I love him, but was it his fault or was it the implanted directions, instructions, as far as him following through, not knowing, you know what I mean? Broken families constantly. People on the lower have mood swings. People know how to harmonize frequencies. SOS was a subliminal message that I picked up last year, as far as noticing if you put those in words for a killer who was manipulated and told everybody that he believes he was possessed and it was the dog that was telling him to go kill. SOS, Summer of Sam. So when you look at Ringo Starr, guilty motherfucker, or is that subliminal messages where you got tricked like Summer of Sam and you didn't realize that you were the Zodiac killer? You got the Manson family. You got 1991, 1989, when Blackbird was, created but then released 2 years later. You have me getting kidnapped by my mom and leaving San Diego, California, going to New Mexico without my dad's consent and without his acknowledgement or, his approval. And was I killed? Was I baptized at 2? Why did Jesus get, saved? And those that were from barely newborn to being 2 years old were massacred and slaughtered because, the Herod King was not taking any chances. He wanted Jesus gone. Big details as far as clues that this is all not right. The fact we had ancient aliens and gods and Anunnaki, and they're gone 3,600 years, and then they come back and they're always stripping us of our gold after the time of, if they come back every 3,600 years and our societies and the world that we know restarts after 4,000 years, doesn't that mean that they're robbing us of gold that is put back there as far as new gold, as far as it being like the video game restarting? That's some fucked up shit for everyone to know how to live in this world like Ryan Reynolds, and you see people that are villains or CPUs that get a hold of this information and then start using it to their advantage. So every time the video game restarts and the jewelry's in the safe and this fucking clue or who did it or whatever, this thief heist type of video game where you're supposed to solve it, it's like they're not even doing shit to where you're able to play the game and look for them from being a person outside of the video game, and you're like, what the fuck? Because inside the video game they're just like, we're gonna come back to the restart and take everything and dip. And we have gold here, but that's from it recreating itself. Just like how a planet or a sun explodes, if you haven't harnessed the energy from it and it's a big ball of gas, then just like a diamond, it's starting to compress until it's a solid again. From gas to liquid to a solid, that's what a combustion is. of showing astral projection and physical appearance, you know? So knowing how to do that and able to simulate the particular to actually vibrate, to actually become a solid. You know, if something is thin, then it's just a projection. And if it's a projection and it's thin, then it just means you're broadcasting photons and negative electrons. But if you're able to adapt the science of genetics and astrological methods of this alchemy, then of course you're able to do things realistically of putting more simulations with real people, and they actually seem to be like real people or that person. But when I was in San Diego and I wanted to get away from the city, which has really big lane lines as far as these witches and satanic cults for spiritual energy, you know, making upside down stars and connections, you know, patterns, you know, idle hand network. It's the devil's. It's not seen. You get what I'm saying? The Matrix is acting as if it was an evil artificial intelligence, and it's always deciding when your final destination is going to occur, because it's just, you know, hiding in the dark, being evil. You know, you got chickens in the coop, it's a freaking wolf, or let's say sheep, the lamb. You know, it's the wolf that's coming, and you gotta freaking be the shepherd to protect your sheep. You gotta be a shepherd looking like a sheep, so therefore when the wolf tries to come and get you, you're like, I got you, motherfucker. So, yeah, this whole story of medieval and way back ancient days and how they got rid of the demons, and then all of a sudden years later they got back into demonology. It just is part of my protest. It's a great evidence appeal to show face the facts that knowledge was up here, and it took a long time for it to bloom. Jesus died at 33. Well, at 33, as they say, they added a year. I was 34 in this life, and that's when the spirit of hope flashed in my room. I was making a song for Jesus, and you know, him being king of higher levels, as well as he should have been king on earth when he was in vessel, but he's still walking the earth. You know, very important to have video game guiders who are that important as your hero. You know what I mean? So, him being my squad lead, and me knowing that when my mind is boosted back up to a certain frequency level, I'll get my memories back for every reincarnation that I was. You know, I remembered the science that Einstein was into, relativity theory, and I created that, the relativityology. You know, that's where I cross-examined and pinpointed the identical relevance in which it has everything to do with each other, and how these clues were not meant for the average person to learn, because once you conquer and divide, you make this world more simulated to be a prison or hell. And if you're not worthy to leave it and go to the next heaven and move up, then, you know what I mean, they want to keep using you for a lifeline. You know, you'll be reincarnated at your early years of being born. Some children, they have nightmares or memories or dreams of being somebody that was like a World War II pilot, and it's like, you know, 80, 100 years later, and it's a toddler, and like, you didn't teach your kid nothing, but yet they're telling you exactly the numbers, the ship, your dog tag, your, you know, what was your fuck, I got brain farts right now, but where were you stationed, this and that. And when the children are so young, but they're able to have the memory to speak about stuff, and then you're creeped out or freaked out, but you still love your kid, you're just spooked. You know what I mean? You're not scared of them, but you're just spooked of the situation. Like, that's some freaky shit. It's because we're stuck in a simulated world of what they call Genesis. You know? You look at a compass, it's circular, has 4 points. Once it gets past the first point, it's already on to the second point. Once your second point is reached, you're not really in year 2000, you're actually at the start of year 3000. Back in the day, when you were born, you were considered 1 year old. And then by your first birthday, they were saying happy birthday. Now he's 2. Later on, they changed it. In the oldest days, you used to have 12-hour days, which were actually 2 hours or 4 hours, depending on how long the days were, because we had longer lifespans. And then they split it in half, and then next you know, we have 12-hour days. 24-hour days. You know what I mean? Because day and night coming together. This whole Black Mirror or Dark Side of the Moon, negative, neutral, positive, natural, supernatural, unnatural. I don't know, G. And, all of that is just crazy combustionized curriculums, prophecy created, plans of destructions, all of that stuff has been something where you sold your soul to the devil, being part of these secret societies, not believing God or believing God, thinking because you're chosen that no matter what, you're going to be completely freed. But how are you freed when somebody who gave you these supernatural powers or, this lie that you're freed actually owns you now, So all of you in these secret societies, you ain't cheating us by trying to be like Agent Smith, get out of the Matrix. Nah, you're definitely stuck in the Matrix. And you're already tired of having all of these extra benefits that, you thought were going to be great. Over time, being immortal, like Pirates of the Caribbean, which is a great example, Captain Barbossa wants to put back the Aztec gold that's cursed because now he can't eat. He's not satisfied. He's still hungry, like he ain't nothing. Thirst, even if he chugs water, it has no taste. There's no fulfillment. Vampires that are alive, they eat. Well, it's myth part, but we're getting into breaking down myths and legends and truth, right? So with elders and having their different realms, Shadow Realm, the Further, Pitch Black, White Noise, Poltergeist, you have these parts of chess, Guardian or Dominion. Are you going to be on this side of the chessboard or that side? Are you guys going to stay neutral? No, we're always going to make you pick a side. Are you good or bad? You know what I mean? If you're good, we're going to fuck with you. We're going to make you homeless. We're going to send people out like robots because we're manipulating their thought process and controlling them to, I don't know, or disturb you and kick you out of your house, evict you, get you fired. You did nothing wrong. You're the victim of a fight. All of a sudden, they fucking make you feel like if you're the most dangerous person in the world and you're locked up and, you're just in places that nobody should be treated wrong or have so many infections or contaminations in their imprisonment, their, a place that they have to be isolated. Nothing should be that gross and disgusting where you could get infected and right away get sick and die. MRSA, you got holding tanks at George Bailey and other places, never been cleaned. So right when you're walking in the hallway, it smells like old, disgusting farts. They open up freaking these holding tanks while you're waiting for booking or you're past booking and you're trying to go to your module with high power or low power. That shit stinks. It's so disgusting. Just memory right now just hurts because I felt like no matter what, I have to keep my mind strong. I can't let nothing infect me. I have the power to have my thought process, have that vision and fusion to keep me strong and healthy. But you let go of that, you slip up, you fall weak, all of a sudden you got some green shit on a cut. It was tiny and you didn't even notice, from microfiber or, you know, a hair that was someone else's. The end tip of the follicle poked your sweat glands, you know what I mean? Your openings, your carbon-based earthly fucking vessel, you know, your pores. You got a ingrown hair now, and all of a sudden you got MRSA, you got, you know, hepatitis B, which is worse than A, and then you know, you got pink eye, and then something that's way above pink eye. That one's super dangerous. I mean, all this shit of no janitors, no police, who I believe it should be the police. If they treat you like shit, they should be the ones that are janitors and cleaning and scrubbing the toilets for their holding tanks. You know what I mean? But because those things have never been touched, I knew it was the Matrix and this whole simulation of this world and that we're in that right away made me suffer, and I had to stay strong and focused. Why me? Why did I have to go through all that shit? Because I am the one, and instead of having a happy ending, this Matrix with all these people that sold their soul and are now miserable as far as passed on deities that are still part of these secret societies, running shit in between worlds and being invisible. It's just sad. They're miserable, and you're prisoners. You guys didn't free yourselves. You know, this whole code of don't say nothing. So many people around San Diego that somehow had the information in their head where it finally unlocked, and they couldn't tell me shit. Why? Because they got the subliminal message of, if you're chosen, don't say shit. You know, did I get invited to join and be initiated in the Illuminati last year? Yes, I wrote about it on Facebook. You know, I screenshot the picture, and what did this simulation do? It shrunk the amount of information on these texts that were going back and forth, so they're incomplete, even though you still get the understanding. But taking away part of the information as far as the screenshots, it renders it to kind of seem like it's a scam, as well as people already thought it was a scam. But make no mistake, it wasn't until I got super smart with the knowledge that's in the brain already, and all the little clues as far as things that help you to right away get the eternal memory. And then all of a sudden, like promise notes, you know, demonology, ancient civilizations, the regular shit that everyone's getting hints of but didn't know, really kept everyone, you know, confused or gave up on wanting to know. You know, they didn't care, you know. But with it all hitting me after I got whipped by a poltergeist, you know, and also me writing a song of Jesus thanking me by flashing the light 5 times, Spirit of Hope. Look it up. If you Google search an entity that flashed the light, my room light 5 times, you know, it will say, if your light flashed 5 times, then you were visited by the Spirit of Hope. All of these people that have made engineered subliminal messages, you know, you have Genesis, that Phil Collins, and I can't remember the other homeboy's name, but he's a great singer too. You know, I can't remember his name, but he was part of Genesis. And then you have all these people like Journey. You have Earth, Wind, and Fire. Even though it's just music, and you know they had funky time, disco time, oldies, it's subliminally sent in your head the Honda, the Hyundai, masculine, feminine, two sides, two dragons, double dragon, the sun god, the black sun god, the solar sun, the black solar sun dragon. You have your guardian and dominion with two universes colliding. You have that, uh, shit, what was it called? I'm glad I defeated that shit this year. Um, the purge. A lot of people think the purge means separating. No, purge means the power of two becoming one and also splitting from one being one whole to being two halves. One being a half negative, one being a positive negative. You know what I mean? So this year, worrying about Big Bang Theory, explosive like nuclear reactors, fucking all the crazy conspiracy stuff, Hitler being killed, 9/11, the rest of the German officers and scientists, brought over here as far as surrendering, but then becoming important to USA and becoming Americans. Some of them hiding and acting like they were a Jew. But no matter what, these secret alliances have a lot to do with these cults, secret societies, League of Nations. The examples, they're so perfectly evidential, the broadcast that we are in a type of module like Jumanji, where you didn't know where you're at, but if you pay attention to your surroundings, you'll finally get direction. You'll be on the right road. And so, isn't it strange, Superman, Krypton, him being like powerful, getting power from the sun, him being a vessel, Jesus, you look at Yoda, you look at Neo, everything has the same storyline in different ways for you to think it's completely different. It's completely different. There's no relativity. But like I said, I perfected from lightweight memory of being Einstein, Tesla, and then trying to find out who these other members were that they always worked for. So Nick or whatever, and then Edison, you know what I mean? I don't have memories of being them as far as my research, but it does conduct so much as far as knowing this reincarnated life of these important individuals that helped me to right away understand these other acquaintances, information. Thanks, G. Hey, where you at? Hold on, I'm gonna pause this. I've been recording these things and I haven't released them yet. But Matrix and whoever can hack your phone, whether they're on this earth where I'm living or not, or in a different place, all that crazy shit, you guys have the power to hear this and listen like watchers. And I just want you guys to either fucking break bread and help me, do what Jesus wanted me to do, or be ready for when I pass away, I'm coming after you, or while I'm living, sooner or later, the truth will hit the light and you will be done, punished, But much love, and I'm going to keep talking about this stuff soon.